The sticker price is only half the story. A cheap car with high insurance, fancy sensors, or a failing transmission can drain your budget faster than a new payment. These 7 cars keep the bill small because the parts are common, the designs stay basic, and number 1 is still one of the best low-stress buys on the road. Number 7. Mitsubishi Mirage ES manual, 2017 through 2019. Before you laugh at the horsepower, price the tires. This little hatchback can wear tires that cost less than one oversized crossover tire, and that is where low ownership costs begin. I would target the Mitsubishi Mirage ES with the naturally aspirated 1.2-liter 3-cylinder and 5-speed manual from 2017 through 2019. Kelley Blue Book places a clean title 2017 ES roughly between $4,000 and $5,100 in private party condition, while the clean 2019 ES can reach a little above $6,000. Mileage, rust, tires, and service history move that number around. The Mirage is a low insurance candidate because it has a low replacement value, modest power, and small repair parts, but you must quote the exact VIN. Insurance companies use vehicle price, repair cost, theft exposure, safety record, zip code, coverage level, and your own history. There is no honest national promise. The market overlooks this one because buyers want a bigger screen, more power, or an SUV stance. Smart buyers see low fuel use, tiny tires, easy parking, and a basic drivetrain. The ES manual matters. It uses the small MIVEC engine with a regular 5-speed manual, so it avoids turbo hardware and avoids the CVT used in some Mirage versions. That keeps the repair path simple. It does not make the car perfect. The weak point is ordinary low-cost car wear around the front suspension and steering. Drive it on a broken side street and listen for a sharp strut or control arm clunk. Turn the wheel slowly in a parking lot and feel for looseness. On a small incline, release the clutch gently and make sure it engages without slipping near the top of the pedal. Then check all 4 tire dates and inspect the rocker panels. A cheap hatchback with 10-year-old tires and rusty rockers is not a value. It is a risky highway trip. One more ownership point matters here. Small wheels and low weight can keep routine tire, brake, and suspension spending lower than on a heavy crossover, but only if you buy a stock car. Oversized aftermarket wheels, loud exhaust parts, and lowered springs erase the whole reason to own a Mirage. I would rather see faded paint, service receipts, and normal wheels than a shiny modified hatchback with no history. Buy this for city commuting, retirement errands, student duty, or a second household car. Skippity for regular interstate runs, adult passengers in back, or a driver who needs quick passing power. The next car gives you a real mid-size backseat, more highway comfort, and one insurance advantage most crossover buyers forget. If this kind of cost-first car talk saves you money, subscribe. We compare insurance, repair access, and ownership bills before the seller starts receiving payment. Number 6. Toyota Camry 4-cylinder, 2010 through 2011. Most people walk past this Camry because it looks like the car their neighbor already owns. That boredom is exactly why the parts counter knows it. I would focus on the Toyota Camry LE 4-cylinder from 2010 through 2011. With the 2.5-liter engine, front-wheel drive, and 6-speed automatic. Kelley Blue Book currently puts clean title private party LE cars from the 2010 model year around the mid $4,000 to high $5,000 range, while clean 2011 LES commonly move from just under $6,000 into the low $7,000 range. A fair target is $4,500 to $6,900 for a car with roughly 110,000 to 180,000 miles, normal wear, decent tires, and no rust surprise. Insurance quote sites often show the Camry as a lower-cost mid-size sedan, but your price still depends on driver history, zip code, coverage, and deductible. What helps is simple. The vehicle is not exotic, replacement values are modest, and independent shops see them constantly. Sedan demand also dropped while shoppers chased crossovers. That can leave you a larger trunk, a useful rear seat, and a calmer highway ride for less money than a newer small SUV. Toyota gave this Camry a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder and a conventional 6-speed automatic. No turbo, no dual-clutch setup, and no CVT. That fixed-gear transmission and basic naturally aspirated engine Make the repair path more basic and familiar. The weak point I would inspect is cooling system seepage around the water pump. Start it cold, then use a flashlight around the pump and pulley for dried pink or white residue. Look at the coolant reservoir before the road test. Take the car out long enough for the transmission to get warm, then judge every upshift and downshift. Finally, check tire dates, front brake wear, and rocker panels before believing polished paint. A small coolant leak can become an expensive repair if it is ignored until the engine overheats. I also like the Camry because a basic LE does not force you to pay for every luxury feature before you get the useful stuff. The parts stores stock filters, brake components, belts, hoses, and suspension items because so many were sold. That does not mean you skip an inspection. It means a normal repair is less likely to turn into a dealer-only search for a rare electronic module. Buy this Camry for highway comfort, a proper back seat, practical insurance potential, and easy parts access. Walk away if the reservoir is low, the warm shifts hesitate, or the seller has no proof of basic maintenance. The next vehicle costs more upfront, but it gives older knees easier entry, taller visibility, and a drivetrain that skips unnecessary all-wheel drive complexity. Number 5. Honda CR-V LX front-wheel drive, 2010 through 2011. Your knees do not care whether the badge says SUV. They care whether you can step in easily, see over traffic, and still afford the first repair. That is why I would look for a Honda CR-V LX with front-wheel drive from 2010 through 2011, using the 2.4-liter 4-cylinder and 5-speed automatic. Kelley Blue Book places clean title 2010 LX examples in private party territory, starting around the low $6,000 range and reaching toward $8,000 when condition is excellent. For this video, the realistic target is $6,200 to $7,600 for 130,000 to 190,000 miles, a clean body, and a service folder. That is more money than a small sedan, but the higher seat, cargo opening, and resale strength can make sense for the right driver. Insurance quote data often puts the CR-V in a reasonable compact crossover bracket, not a guaranteed cheap bracket. You still quote the VIN first. The market gives this one less attention than a similar RAV4 because many buyers go straight to Toyota. A basic LX front-wheel drive CR-V can be the value purchase when you do not need all-wheel drive, leather, or extra electronic features. Honda paired its multi-point fuel-injected 2.4-liter engine with a conventional 5-speed automatic. It has no turbo and no CVT. That means regular engine service, normal automatic shifting, and a repair path local shops understand. I would avoid all-wheel drive models with unknown rear differential fluid history because extra drivetrain hardware adds expense without helping a city commuter. The safety check here is making sure all recalls have been completed. Run the VIN through NHTSA records before you buy. Then confirm every power window, door lock, and exterior light works exactly as it should. Run the VIN first. Then operate the driver's window repeatedly. Feel for sticking, smell for heat, and do not ignore a switch that acts inconsistently. Drive the CR-V until it is warm and feel each 5-speed shift. Turn the front wheels and inspect the CV boots for tears. Check tire dates and take a rough road slowly to listen for a suspension clunk. Keep the trim plain. A front-wheel drive LX leaves out some expensive extras and lets you spend the difference on tires, fluids, and a thorough inspection. Test the rear hatch struts and the air conditioning too. A weak hatch will not ruin the van, but a weak air conditioner or neglected fluids can turn a comfortable commuter into an annoying summer project. This is a comfort and visibility choice for a driver who wants easy entry, groceries, and light family cargo. Skip-a-tee for serious towing, off-road work, or a buyer who cannot justify the price premium over the Camry. The next car proves that the smallest repair bill often starts with a basic engine, a simple 4-speed automatic, and a hood latch that actually works. Number 4. Chevrolet Spark LS 2013 through 2015. Look at the hood latch before you look at the odometer. A tiny car can still hand you a big bill when one basic safety part is ignored. I would target a Chevrolet Spark LS from 2013 through 2015 with the 1.2-liter 4-cylinder and front-wheel drive. but I would choose the 5-speed manual. If you want an automatic, the 2013 model uses a traditional 4-speed automatic, while the 2014 and 2015 models use a CVT. Kelley Blue Book shows clean title private party LS cars in a rough $3,400 to $4,900 range depending on year, mileage, condition, and location. A 2014 LS is commonly around the middle of that spread. That is low enough to leave room in the wallet for tires, fluids, brakes, and an inspection. Insurance will still depend on the driver, but this is a strong low insurance candidate because the vehicle value is low, the engine is small, and routine parts are not priced like crossover parts. The market overlooks the Spark because buyers assume small means disposable. I see a basic practical city commuter that is cheap to park, cheap to fuel, and light on consumables. The 1.2-liter engine has no turbo. The 5-speed manual is the simplest long-term choice, while buyers considering a 2014 or 2015 automatic should remember those cars use a CVT instead of the earlier 4-speed automatic. That is a simple ownership layout. The weak point is not a major engine disaster, it is the hood latch and air conditioning behavior. General Motors recalled certain 2013 through 2015 Sparks because the secondary hood latch can corrode. First, run the VIN. Then open the hood and inspect the latch area for corrosion or a striker that feels sticky. Close it firmly, pull up gently on the hood, and confirm it is secure. Run the air conditioning at idle, then drive the car and make sure it still blows cold afterward. Sam, a warehouse clerk with an 8-mile commute, found a 2014 Spark for $3,900. The air turned warm while he waited at a light, so he walked away and bought a $4,500 Spark with cold air and records. That was the cheaper decision. Test the clutch on a hill if it is manual, or drive the automatic until warm and feel every shift. Check tire dates, brake wear, and rocker panels. Do not confuse small with unsafe to inspect. Sit in the driver's seat, check every warning light, make sure the steering wheel is straight, and look through the wheels at the brake rotors. A Spark that pulls under braking or shakes at highway speed is telling you the low price may be a risky expense. You are buying low bills, not somebody else's skip maintenance. Buy this for city work, short trips, and a second car that keeps the monthly bills low. Skip it for regular interstate travel, big cargo, or frequent adult passengers. The next car looks cheap because buyers remember one bad automatic. The manual version is a different conversation entirely. Subscribe if you want car advice that protects your wallet after the sale. We look past badges, count the parts, and test the weak points. Number 3. Ford Fiesta is manual. 2011 through 2013. The shifter is the entire story here. Grab it before you admire the paint, because one gearbox makes this bargain smart and the other makes it dangerous. I would buy only the Ford Fiesta S manual sedan or hatchback from 2011 through 2013 with the 1.6-liter TI VCT 4-cylinder and 5-speed manual. Kelley Blue Book shows a clean title 2012 Fiesta S near $3,100 to $3,900 in private party condition, with condition and mileage moving the number. That is the value opportunity. The PowerShift automatic reputation crushed values across the entire Fiesta line, and plenty of buyers avoid every one of them. The manual is not the same vehicle to own. It avoids the DPS6 dual clutch transmission and its clutch control, shutter, delayed engagement, and actuator headaches. Ford's service information, customer satisfaction programs, and NHTSA complaint records document widespread concerns with the PowerShift DPS6 automatic, including shuttering, slipping, and delayed engagement. For this low-cost ownership list, avoid every automatic Fiesta with the PowerShift transmission. Do not let a seller say it was fixed once, shifts fine today, or merely needs programming. The 5-speed manual paired with the naturally aspirated 1.6 is the low-cost move. No turbo, no CVT, and no dual clutch unit. That keeps the repair path simple, but the buyer must know how to drive a manual. Insurance quote comparisons often put the Fiesta in a modest bracket because of its low value, but always quote the VIN and your coverage first. Frank is a school maintenance supervisor who found a manual Fiesta for $3,600 beside a PowerShift automatic listed at $3,100. He paid more for the manual after testing the clutch. His lesson was simple. Saving $500 on the wrong transmission can create an expensive project. Confirm 3 pedals before you even test drive it. On a hill, check clutch engagement. Shift into reverse several times because a reluctant reverse gear can expose clutch or linkage trouble. Drive over broken pavement and listen for front strut mount clunks. With the engine hot, leave the air conditioning on and confirm the cooling fan cycles. Then inspect tire dates, engine mount movement, and rocker rust. The manual also gives you control during the test drive. Start with the engine cold, let it idle, and listen for a noisy release bearing when you press the clutch. Then shift through every gear without rushing. A manual gearbox should not need force, grind into reverse, or make you fight the lever. Those are clues that the seller's low price may have a clutch job hidden inside it. This is a value pick for a manual driving commuter who wants cheap parts and a low purchase price. Walk away if you need an automatic, if the clutch slips, or if the body is rusty. The next hatchback brings more rear seat room and another clear transmission rule that separates a cheap keeper from a risky shortcut. Number 2. Nissan Versa S hatchback 2009 through 2011. Sit in the back seat before you judge this hatchback. It has more usable room than plenty of cars that cost twice as much to insure and repair. I would target the Nissan Versa S hatchback from 2009 through 2011 with the 1.8-liter four-cylinder and either the 6-speed manual or 4-speed automatic. Nissan offered those fixed gear choices in the S hatchback while the SL hatchback used a CVT. That difference matters. The S can be a low-cost commuter with a basic engine and conventional gearbox. The SL CVT is not the version I want in a video about bills you barely notice, so skip IT when the listing says SL Xtronic or CVT. Kelley Blue Book values for clean title S hatchbacks commonly place honest higher mile examples around $2,500 to $3,900, depending on condition and location. Do not buy the cheapest one in a salt state just because it has low miles. The Versa is overlooked because it has almost no image, dated styling, and a Nissan badge that makes buyers think of later CVT trouble. The correct S hatchback avoids that problem and gives tall drivers, grocery runs, and a small family more usable cabin room than they expect. Insurance is a quote first issue. Its low value can help, but no one can promise your bill without your zip code and driving record. The 1.8 uses sequential multi-port injection, and the S has either a 6-speed manual or a fixed-gear 4-speed automatic. No turbo, no dual clutch, no CVT. That is the simple part. The known weak point is the front coil spring on certain hatchbacks in corrosion states. Nissan recalled affected cars because a spring could corrode and break. Run the VIN. Turn the front wheels fully. Look behind them and inspect the spring coils for heavy rust or a broken end. Lift the rear cargo mat and check for water around the hatch seals. Drive the automatic until warm and feel for clean shifts, or test the manual clutch on an incline. Finally, check tire dates. A roomy hatchback with bad tires is not a value or repair bargain. It is a risky safety problem. The Versa also wins on practical space. The roofline is tall, the doors are useful, and the hatch makes groceries and small tools easier to load than in a tiny sedan. That matters when you are trying to keep one car for years instead of trading up every time life changes. Just do not let the cabin room distract you from the rust, tires, springs, and the exact transmission. Buy it for a tall driver, a small family, school runs, and low-cost commuter duty. Walk away. If recall history is unknown, the front spring is crusty, or the seller hides a CVT behind vague wording, the number one car is less roomy than this hatchback, but it has stronger resale, broad parts support, and an old 4-speed automatic that makes ownership costs easier to predict. If this list has already changed one purchase, subscribe. We build smarter owners with real prices, honest repairs, and no dealership payment tricks at all. Number 1. Toyota Corolla, the 2011 through 2013. The best cheap car is rarely the lowest listing. It is the one that still has good tires, clean fluid, a service folder, and enough resale value to protect you later. That is why I would put the Toyota Corolla LE from 2011 through 2013 at number 1. Look for the 1.8-liter 4-cylinder, front-wheel drive, and conventional 4-speed automatic. Kelley Blue Book places clean title 2011 LE private party values roughly from the high $5,000 range into the low $7,000 range. A realistic purchase target is $5,600 to $7,200 for a car with 100,000 to 170,000 miles, honest paint, decent tires, and records. Clean cars can cost more. That sounds higher than a Spark or Fiesta, but this video is about total ownership, not winning the cheapest listing contest. The Corolla earns its place with a low-drama engine, basic automatic, easy parts access, strong resale, and insurance potential that is usually favorable for a plain compact sedan. The Insurance Information Institute explains that premiums reflect more than a badge. Vehicle value, repair cost, theft exposure, safety record, driver history, zip code, and coverage all matter. So quote the exact Corolla before you buy it. Do not believe a stranger promising a universal rate. The market does not ignore the Corolla completely. It simply fails to excite buyers who want bigger wheels, an SUV stance, or a screen the size of a television. That is a secret advantage. Clean LE can be less flashy than a cheap, sporty compact, but it leaves fewer ways for a seller to hide an expensive surprise. Toyota paired the 1.8 with a regular 4-speed electronically controlled automatic. No turbo, no direct injection, no dual clutch unit, and no CVT. That is a simple driveline. It does not guarantee a perfect car. The weak point I want you to inspect is cooling system seepage, while recall status must be verified separately by VIN. Start it cold. Listen for a water pump bearing chirp or a rough idle. Use a flashlight around the pump area and look for pink or white dried coolant. Hold the brake, shift from park into drive and reverse, and feel for an abnormal slam. Then stay in it until the transmission is warm, because a cold shift tells you almost nothing. Check all 4 tire dates, inspect the trunk for water, and run the VIN for open recalls. Luis is a self-employed handyman who found a 157,000-mile Corolla LE with complete records for $6,250. Beside it sat an 89,000-mile car on old tires with no cooling history. Luis bought the documented car. The lesson is that a service folder beats a low odometer. The LE trim is the right kind of boring. It gives you the everyday equipment most people use without the sportier wheels, modified car history, or higher-priced trim extras that can make a cheap compact more expensive to own. I would prefer a base-looking LE with a complete folder over a shiny S with an intake, loud exhaust, mismatched tires, and a seller who cannot explain the maintenance. That is not snobbery. It is a simple way to avoid paying extra for modification damage, wheel bearings, worn tires, and an insurance quote that makes no sense later. Buy the Corolla LE for a first car, retirement commuter, adult child, or household that wants a predictable daily driver with resale strength. Skip it if you need serious cargo room, towing, or quick acceleration. Walk away if the coolant residue is fresh, the tire dates are ancient, the warm transmission hesitates, or the seller will not allow a real inspection. The Corolla is not exciting in a parking lot. It is exciting 6 months later when the insurance quote stays reasonable, the repair shop recognizes every part, and your wallet still has money left. None of these cars stay cheap through magic. They stay cheaper when you buy the right version, inspect the known weak point, and leave room for baseline maintenance. Buyer Roadmap. The Mitsubishi Mirage ES manual is the city commuter pick. Test the clutch, front suspension, tire dates, and rocker rust before trusting the low sticker. The Toyota Camry LE 4-cylinder is the comfort commuter choice. Inspect water pump residue, warm shifts, brake wear, tires, and records. The Honda CR-V LX front-wheel drive suits drivers who want easy entry and visibility. Verify power window recall history. Test the switch, inspect CV boots, and avoid unknown all-wheel drive service. The Chevrolet Spark LS is the tiny city choice. Test air conditioning warm, inspect the hood latch, check recall completion, and reject old tires or rust. The Ford Fiesta S manual is for drivers comfortable with 3 pedals. Avoid every power shift automatic, test clutch engagement, and inspect the cooling fan, suspension, and rockers. The Nissan Versa S hatchback gives you room for the money. Avoid CVT trims, inspect front springs, verify recall work, and test warm shifts or clutch action. The Toyota Corolla LE is the best balanced ownership choice. Inspect cooling traces, check tire dates, verify recalls, and drive the 4-speed fully warm. A cheap car only stays cheap when the tires, fluids, body, transmission, and records are right. Buy the condition first, then negotiate the price. Click the next video playing on your screen right now. It covers cheap cars that become expensive mistakes after purchase. Subscribe, protect your wallet, and keep ownership costs under control.